10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Very thankful that you're with us on this Thursday, November the 27th, 2025 already, as we are only a few days away from December 1st, Monday. We'll be December 1st already. We'll be in the last month of 2025, and then you guessed it, we'll be into 2026 already. Where does the time go? I have no idea. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio, terrestrial radio. We're also streaming live on the internet worldwide at cklu.ca. Just click on the Radio Player Canada app or download it. You can either stream us or take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel and the page, and will be found on demand on those two platforms immediately following the show, along with x.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our news aggregator. Now that's a lot of Sudbury and a lot of news in a few paragraphs, but let's get on with the show. We're going to be talking weather first of all, and then we'll be diving into a couple local stories, and then a deep dive into some of our more national social issues that we're facing. And make sure to comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. We'll dive right into with a little bit of weather, and then we'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca as usual. -4 is your temperature. Light snow is what's going on in terms of precipitation. Periods of snow expected today in the amount of 2 to 4 centimeters. Wind will be coming from the northwest, 20 kilometers, gusting to 40. High today, -3, but with the wind chill, it'll be -12. Periods of snow, light snow, and that's tonight, periods of light snow. Wind will be gusting to 50 kilometers per hour, low of -7, but the wind chill will feel near -15. Tomorrow, Friday, the 28th of November, it'll be cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries, wind moderate, high -5, wind chill -14. Clear overnight with a low of -12, and then your Saturday looks like cloudy with -6. And Sunday, -2 with flurries. Monday, mix of sun and cloud, -8. Tuesday, -7, 40% chance of flurries. Same thing for Wednesday. That's your Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Welcome. Appreciate everyone being on this morning. Very thankful to have you with us. Technical issues again this morning. My device was telling me we didn't have sufficient streaming power to stream the show, which I'm wondering what's going on with that. We have the same streaming power every day. And as you know, the only two times my device shut down mid-show was when we were really talking about city issues in detail and really critiquing our own city and how they run things. And that's the two times our device shut down. So we do know that it's possible and the city probably has the resources and has the people that can get into different and hack into different things, right? And we just hope that's not the case, but it would be a coincidence. The only 2 times that happened was when we were really talking about city issues. Anyways, it is what it is. I don't want to speculate. It's just a huge coincidence, apparently. But this morning, it said it didn't have enough bandwidth for the first time ever. I've never had that, not even once. But we were able to figure it out, and the show goes on, as they say. So, again, we have a few people joining us here on the show. Just want to give a few morning shout-outs and then head into our headlines. This is Northern Hillbilly. Good morning to you. We have Nana on. Hello. Blessings, everyone, or everybody. Heart emoji. We got Logic on here. Good morning. And we have, it's buffering. Okay. So maybe the internet, there's something going on with our internet, but what can we do? We can't do anything about that. So we're going to continue. Good morning, everyone from Barrie. Liking and sharing as usual is Marianne. Hazel, good morning. Prayer emoji needed, appreciated. And then Hazel, you got your peace and snow sign all together here. It's Pat, good morning to you. Peace and snow all in one. So, Marianne sent me some information. Thank you very much. Not sure how to get the information mid-show or whatever. I could, I guess, check my email or check my messenger. But we'll continue on for now. Yeah, bad connection. So yeah, it said that there's some issues this morning. I'm wondering what's going on. So listening on the radio app, since Facebook is very glitchy. Okay, I'm just hoping the internet will just somehow fix itself this morning. Marianne says you keep getting booted. And yeah, so there's issues going on. Morning from Quebec. Freezing. Feed. Temperature-wise, probably freezing too. Belinda, good morning to you. Ships are safe in the harbor. Ships are safe in the harbor, but that is not what ships are built for. Don't be afraid to venture out and discover your new potential. 100%. Ships aren't meant to just sit in the harbor all the time. They're meant to get out and do something. Blessings, everyone. Denise, Miles, online radio. That's how you're listening. So if anyone's going to listen with the online radio link that Miles sent, that's much appreciated. Also has a link to the treaties that will be extinguished. And it's also on my page. I don't know if the link will work. So thanks for sending links, guys. Freezing like crazy. Well, not much I can do about that. I didn't want to not have a show today just because it said the bandwidth was a problem. But we'll see. We'll see if somebody has the power to just do something to our internet to make the show wonky. I'm sure they do, but okay. The show goes on. Yeah, the gremlins are really hitting the feed today, for sure. Okay, well, we'll just continue on here and hope the problem fixes itself. 'Tis what it is. Larry, good morning to you. My fellow Canadians. Grand Rising, Monique. The radio is working fine, which is great. Judy, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Maurice. Freezing, yeah. Okay, it's buffering. really bad. So yeah, that's probably why the numbers are a little low on Facebook. But yeah, we're just going to continue on. And on YouTube as well, because Northern Hillbillies chimed in here about the buffering and the freezing. Yeah, who knows, Larry? Who knows? It could be that. Let's just continue on here with our top news headline of the day is the one that we left off with yesterday, which was the Sudbury Star article that Bob Johnston referred to when he was on the show about Greater Sudbury issues updates. No, that's not it. Did it close for some reason? Not sure. It was about that there's more deaths now at home in homes rather than anywhere else. So I got ChatGPT before I guess the article closed somehow. That Dr. Mustafa Hirji, or Hirji, I'm not sure if the J is silent with his name, acting medical officer with the health unit for Sudbury and Manitoulin, told the city officials that most drug overdose deaths in the region occur in private homes, not in encampments, as many assume. Between 2022 and 2025, more than 76% of fatal overdoses happened in residences, and about 80% of the victims were housed. Northern Ontario remains one of the hardest hit areas in the province, with Sudbury recording a mortality rate of nearly 3 times the Ontario average. Hirji pointed out socioeconomic challenges, geographic isolation, and limited access to services as key factors. He also explained that today's overdoses are increasingly caused by toxic mixtures of multiple drugs, not just opioids, reflecting a dangerous shift in illicit supply. Although overdose deaths have declined slightly since their pandemic peak, Hirji emphasized that the need for sustained action. Public Health is preparing a comprehensive 2026 strategy focused on youth prevention, improved care for people who use drugs, and expanded wraparound supports, including housing and stigma reduction efforts. So reducing the stigma of how bad drugs are will help reduce the amount of drugs people do. That makes sense, right? It's not bad to do drugs, guys. If you do drugs, everything's okay. There's no bad stigma attached to that. That should work really well to reduce the amount of people using drugs. Great strategy. It's a very Sudbury strategy, if I don't mind saying so myself. So welcome to being the interim head of the health unit. You're fitting in really well in Sudbury already. So yeah, let's see how that's going to work. I'd like to look at the same article in 2027 and see how this particular strategy worked, right? So let's save this and let's go revisit it in 2027. All right, so stigma reduction efforts, that should really help. Okay, treatment centers remain overloaded with long wait lists and inadequate provincial funding. The crisis raises critical questions for policymakers and the community. How can Sudbury expand safe, affordable housing? What immediate steps will the province take to increase treatment capacity? And how can the community better communicate risks and prevention resources to the large number of people using drugs behind closed doors? So that is ChatGPT's summarization of the Sudbury Star article, in which they are saying that the head of the interim acting medical officer with Sudbury's Sudbury Manitoulin Health Unit is saying that most overdose deaths happen with people that are housed, or at least the people are housed. And one interesting thing that I read in that article yesterday was a lot of them happen in between being homeless and housed. So I'm not sure what that particular comment meant, but we'll need clarification on that. So I guess the internet problem isn't fixing itself this morning. Not sure why. Not sure what's going on. I guess we'll have to continue to monitor this today. And Evelyn, good morning to you. It's chopping. Oh, you're chopping wood this morning, and it's chilly. And we're chopping on Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, we're chopping up. So, okay, so let's, we got really good towers working for internet these days. We got the best internet known to man, apparently. Now that we got millions of new towers put up all overnight during the pandemic to help out with our internet. Continuing with the idea of homelessness, city will relocate volunteer-run Sudbury outreach service to the tent city around without electricity. So the city relocates volunteer-run Sudbury outreach services to tent city without electricity. The city of Greater Sudbury said it has moved a volunteer-run organization called Sudbury Outreach Services to the Energy Court tent encampment to increase the services being offered there. Right? So this is from CBC Sudbury, covering the story here. So the SOS founder, Denise Sandel, fears new site may be inaccessible to some of her clients. Okay. Denise Sandel's son died in 2020. To cope with her grief, she started a group called Sudbury Outreach Support, SOS. I like the acronym in terms of that really works really well. The City of Greater Sudbury said it moved it to Energy Court to increase the services being offered there. In a statement, a city spokesperson said the relocation of SOS aligned well. Here, I'll get this up on the screen just so people can read it as well, along with me. In a statement, city spokesperson says the relocation of SOS aligned well with the focus on services to be offered at that location. No other locations were considered. The city, in collaboration with Sudbury Police, has been carrying out what it calls downtown transformation to prevent open drug use, loitering, and trespassing on downtown streets since the beginning of the month. And now they're also revamping Memorial Park as well along with that. Instead, people have been urged to seek help and shelter at a parking lot off Energy Court, where the Go Give project operates a 24-hour warming center. SOS founder Denise Sandel said she wasn't given a choice about the move, and she has some misgivings about the new site, including lack of electricity, something in which we talked about with Bob Johnson and Tom Price on the show. And Natalie Labby said, well, there's not much we can do about it because the city doesn't own, to do with the possibility of actually bringing heat to the people in Energy Court. I think it's an oxymoron, the idea of having a place called Energy Court with no energy. Is that interesting? I think so. For the past 4 years, her organization has been operating out of Sea-Can containers at the old farmers market off Elgin Street, handing out donated clothing, toiletries, and to those in need on Sunday afternoons. There's a picture of what it might have looked like. This is Energy Court, or maybe it's the old area. I just see trains. I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, that's Energy Court. So Sandel says the need has grown since then, and where they used to give out 200 items, she said now they give 2,000 items. She said volunteers also starting to serve hot food, and recently a barber volunteered to cut hair. This is fantastic. On the first day in the relocated area, Sea-Cans at the Tent City last Sunday, Sandel said someone provided a generator so the barber could run his tools, a heater, and lighting. But they can't afford to offer a warm meal without electricity. Sandel said she's worried the new location will be inaccessible to some of her clients who don't live in the encampment. There's some people that are afraid to go to the tent city, even though they're living on the streets themselves, she said. And there are other people with mobility issues that will not be able to get there. Last Sunday, we had 2 women arrive in wheelchairs that came from downtown, which was amazing. But how's that going to work when the snow comes? Right? So here's a picture of the trailer at Energy Court, used to operate the supervised consumption site. Trailer has now been modified and is operating as a 24-hour warming center daily. Sandel, who lost her son in an opioid overdose, said she thinks about the dignity of people she helps, but the new location is little close to the tents. It's a little close to the tents for anyone's comfort. We're very close to their home. So this is where they have their domestics. This is where they have their disputes with their neighbors. This is where they're using substances, she said. So yeah, I wish we were a little further away, kind of thing. Like it's too close. They see all of their day-to-day dealings that they have, right? They're a little too close with them. There's no professional boundaries there. But the city says it needs Sandel's old spot for other things. Now that we're preparing for the construction of the new event center in coming months, the Elgin Street Market location is being dismantled to accommodate construction and parking needs, said the city in a statement. This is no different than in third world countries where you have shanty towns and then the big developers are coming in and they want to, revamp and build and whatever, right? So it's no different to that. Now, Mario for the North shared a local person sharing a video about Energy Court, and they were down at Energy Court. Now, I have to give a little disclaimer that there are some swears in this person's video, but since we're glitching today, anyways, it's most people aren't even going to be able to see it or hear it. But here you go. Here's a person from Sudbury at Energy Court giving their view about it, and it's shared by Mario for the North, which is really cool. It's got his attention. It's got ours as well.
Well, Canada, I love you, but I got some serious questions about your intellect. This is Energy Court in Sudbury, Ontario. There's tons of homeless places everywhere. And you guys want to spend billions of dollars trying to take guns to save what? 1 to 5 lives? Right? Meanwhile, you have homeless people, families, elderly, everywhere because this country's been run like shit for so long that you're all broke. You know you can't afford it, and even if you have a decent job, you can barely afford it. So what about those people who need a place to live who have kids? We have mothers losing their children because they don't have a home, can't afford a rental place, so Children's Aid is going to take their kids and send them where? The problem's you, Canada. That's what I'm saying, and I don't want to be overly rude about it, but it is. You're not making good choices, and you're making shitty votes because you sit in your house or wherever you're protected, and you don't have to face the hard facts. The truth is, this country's being run like shit, and you're voting to make shitty decisions. So get your heads out of your ass, people, and start voting for the right things and stop wasting money on stupid shit like rainbows and guns. People need food and housing. They're called needs, not wants.
Okay, so pretty harsh words from this particular individual at Energy Court. And many people feel the same way. Now, we have a lot of people getting involved now. The owner of Social Rise, LaRock. I can't think of his first name now. I know him. I see him on LinkedIn all the time. He's constantly sharing videos, but he's been down there. He's putting on a fundraiser at the Union Hall downtown to raise money for people experiencing homelessness, and you name it. Let's see here if we got Yeah, so what's going on? Like, it's just we're seeing our society being eroded, and it's not good. And we have Redacted talking about it here with a constitutional lawyer about everything that's going on. Our whole society is crumbling in Canada. But what is our federal government's main priorities during this crumbling of our society? Well, Redacted kind of shed some light on it.
Well, Canada, get ready to be a full-on police state, 1984 style. If Parliament passes a few bills, we're going to alert you to. The Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedom is warning specifically about bills C2, C8, and C9. I'm going to summarize them together, and then we'll break them down. If they are passed, they would allow the government to open your mail, criminalize the use of cash, allow for warrantless search, prosecute Canadians for opinions, kick you off the internet, have full access to your social media data by allowing social media companies to basically become an arm of the government, allow your neighbor to report you for possible hate crimes so that the government literally can put you on house arrest for the potential, that's like Minority Report, for the potential to do a hate crime if they just don't like the way you use the internet or your opinions. Joining us to discuss is John Carpe. He's the president of the Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedom. He's also the author of Corrupted by Fear, How the Charter Was Betrayed and What Canadians Can Do About It. So thank you for joining us. Can you sort of give us an overarching warning about these, and then we'll talk about it little by little. There was someone in the chat saying, I'm from Canada and you're wrong. They didn't say how. So tell us what's the fact.
Well, we're not as bad as the United Kingdom, where, as you know, there were over 12,000 arrests of people for what they said on social media, making comments against immigration policy. We're not there yet, but we are poised to take that leap. If all of this legislation gets through, so the bills C2, C8, C9, they're all in second reading before the House of Commons. And the House of Commons is sitting for quite a few more weeks before Christmas. So there's ample opportunity. The Liberal government of Marks Carney, as I call him, it's actually Mark Carney, but I say Marks Carney. They have a minority. So, however, it's not that hard, depending on which bill. If they get the support from one of the opposition parties, they can still push things through. So the things that you mentioned are accurate. If all three bills pass in their current form, it will be illegal to use cash in amounts 10,000 or more. Canada Post will have the authority to open letter mail without a warrant. The government will be able to order to kick individual Canadians off the internet by ordering a telecommunications service provider. So some company that provides your internet or provides your phone, they can order that company to kick an individual off phone and off internet. And also there's going to be a lot more prosecutions for hate speech, even though they can't really define hate because it's an emotion and it's subjective. But if these three bills pass, we're going to be close to a police state. We'll certainly be at the mercy of the government. To do with the borders, but they just want to, sneak it by, slip it through under this big 140-page piece of legislation.
Now, you also say possibly they could bring back the Online Harms Act. And again, you can't legislate a feeling in a free country. I can feel as vile as I want if I'm truly living in a free country. That's my right. But the Online Harms Act would allow prosecution for offensive speech. And the idea that you talked about preemptively punishing your neighbor. So what is the mechanism to tell on your neighbor?
So this Online Harms Act was on track to get passed into law prior to the election that we had in April 2025. With the election, it died on the order paper, so to speak. It didn't go through because it hadn't been passed yet before the election was called. If they bring this back, one of the provisions in the Online Harms Act is that if a neighbor fears that you are going to commit a hate speech crime in the future, they can apply to court, and potentially, if the judge believes your neighbor that you might get into hate speech, you could be placed under house arrest and ordered to wear an ankle bracelet and be subjected to a curfew, et cetera, without having been charged with a crime, without having been convicted. So it's like Minority Report. This is actually in the bill that died before the last election. Some Liberals have talked about bringing this bill back. It also has provisions to empower the Canadian Human Rights Commission to prosecute Canadians for non-criminal offensive speech. And it gives power to the federal cabinet to create all kinds of rules governing the internet, and a new digital safety commission to enforce those new rules. It's horrific. If that one gets brought back, again, it's not before the House right now, but if that is brought back, and if it's passed along with Bills C2, C8, and C9, if those four things go through, it's going to be absolute tyranny up here, as opposed to only partial tyranny as it is presently.
And so what can Canadians do about it? Because why is there not a collective screaming? I mean, what's hilarious is that the No Kings rally extended into Canada. So they're upset about Trump when it has nothing to do with them, but they're not upset about this real, what could be kingly power.
Well, first of all, there are a lot of Canadians have woken up since our rights and freedoms were violated by governments on a massive scale, starting in March 2020 with all the lockdowns and the vaccine passports, the travel restrictions. Became practically impossible to leave Canada for the better part of a year. You were kind of locked up here in the same way that you would have been locked up in a communist country before the fall of the Berlin Wall. But we've got a growing pro-freedom movement in Canada, and most of those people are people who were asleep until March of 2020. So the lockdowns and the mandatory vaccination policies and so on woke up a lot of people. And as recent proof of that, the government has put Bill C2 kind of on the back burner, and they've pulled out the parts pertaining to the immigration, the border, the refugees.
So it kind of shows you that if people are informed of what's going on, they can push back. Now it's going to come back because the government have goals that you can tell with their bills they're passing, what they're trying to do with our country. It's full on police state, full on communist. That's what Canada will look like in the next few years. That's their goal. Now we can prevent that the more informed we are. And, you know, it's basically getting informed. Take your head out of the sand, realize put your elbows down. They're blocking your ears, and listen to what's going on and really see what your country's becoming. Look who's making it into that, and do whatever you can. Stand up for what you feel is right, and prevent these things from happening, or we will be in a full-on police state. I think they're not going to stop until they get what they want. And unfortunately, I don't see as much hope as some of these other people do. I see not as many people waking up as should be waking up, but it is what it is. And that's all the time we got for the show today. Thanks for being on. I know the video was glitchy, the live, but it'll be on demand, and I'm sure it'll be perfectly fine on demand. And we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow with a show that's not glitchy. Because we're going to speak with the provider of the internet who provides it and make sure that it won't be. So let's stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms, God willing, tomorrow. Remember to stay aware, like, share, take care, and ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.